Park in Northfield, Ohio, home of the Flying Turns. And tonight we present the richest series in harness racing. It's year 12 of the Cadillac Breeders' Crown.
Pacific Rocket. He is the top-rated horse in harness racing this year and possible Horse of the Year in 1995 as well.
Pacific Rocket is part of our main event tonight. It is the open pace, and Gary, it should be a dandy.
It really will. Purse of $300,000. You've got 6 going a mile. That is 4 turns on the Flying Turns here at Northfield Park. It's for 3-year-olds and up, as you said, but no 3-year-old opted to tangle with this tough group this year.
And here's a look now at the complete field for the open pace and the morning line odds. The favorite, Pacific Rocket, Jack Moiseyev, the driver, 4-5, and the second choice at 5-2 is Village Jiffy and Paul McDonnell.
You know, you talk about those two. Well, they indeed have seen each other before, and they faced off in the U.S. Pacing Championships at the Meadowlands at the beginning of August. As a matter of fact, it was on Hambletonian Day, August 5th, and a big mile here on the inside. Pacific Rocket and Jackie Moe, they had already gone a huge mile. Village Jiffy was flying on the outside. Ball and Chain, also a very game effort as well. An exciting finish, 3 of them across the track. It would indeed be close, but it would be the Rocket hanging on for Jackie Moe.
A crowd of around 8,000 expected tonight at Cleveland's Casino, Northfield Park Harness, Northfield, Ohio. A big night of racing is ahead. This is a very speedy oval here in Northfield, Ohio. It is called the home of the Flying Turns with a 12% bank on the turns, Gary.
That's right, kind of along the principle of a velodrome, Bruce. It allows the horses to get into those turns easier and actually allows them to get around much faster. It's a lot less wear and tear on their legs.
The horses begin to make their way onto the track. This race, $300,000 for the Cadillac Breeders' Crown Open Pace Championship, and it should be a dandy.
It really will. We have a strong field here. Pacific Rocket, historic, Broadway Jade, who's won 6 in a row, so this should be a great event.
And the current odds right now, Pacific Rocket is the favorite at 4-5. Watch Broadway Jade has won 6 straight since August 5th. He only had 6 wins in his first 104, but he's won 7 of his last 8, and Lusty Leader getting a lot of respect because he won here in the Battle of Lake Erie.
That's right, and I'll tell you, Broadway Jade has indeed changed his racing style. He is now going on the front end, but he's got Pacific Rocket to the inside of him, and Pacific Rocket, one of the toughest horses to get by going to the first quarter in a race. And right now, we're going to find out a little bit more about this great pacer named Pacific Rocket. Pacific Rocket has finally gotten his turn in the spotlight after racing in the shadow of stablemate Cam's Card Shark last season. The number 2 horse in the powerful Bill Robinson stable earned nearly $1.5 million in '94. Not bad. But Cam's Card Shark won most of the big stake races, a record $2.2 million and Harness Horse of the Year honors. But this year, the Rocket has really taken off.
He's had a much better season than I could expect. He raced all winter, and Bill Robinson's been able to keep him sharp. And what a tremendous horse he got to be, and a lot more than we expected, I think, after racing through the winter that he did. He's got 7 miles under 151 wins this year, which is very nice.
With 16 wins and 26 starts, the 4-year-old is the top-rated harness horse in the polls, and most of his victories have been in gutty fashion. He put on a brave effort in winning the Canadian Pacing Derby on August 26th at Woodbine. And one of his toughest and top efforts was that U.S. Pacing Championship victory on Hambletonian Day, another win that showed off the huge heart of the horse.
He's been like an iron horse. He races, you know, last 2 years, every week he gives you a big race, and he's just been sharper. Like the last 3-4 starts, he's been like he's just started racing. He's nice and fresh, so he's going into Breeders' Crown looking pretty good, I think. He drew good. You got to take it from there.
But one of his worst outings of the year came in early June in the Battle of Lake Erie at Northfield, a surprising 5th-place finish to local favorite Lusty Leader. It's a defeat that gives his Breeders' Crown rivals hope, but according to Lohmeyer, there was a reason for the poor performance.
That was one of his bad races all year. He had a quarter crack, a bar separation, and he put in a horrible race. Hopefully we can make amends.
Moiseyev doesn't believe he'll see anything other than the same Rocket who has made a serious run at the Horse of the Year title.
Every time I ever drove him on a half, it was probably his best race. Like, he can go over any track. One start in Northfield, he was sick. It's the only time he threw a bad race on a half-mile track. And other than that, he just can handle any track, get around any size track, and any footing. Doesn't matter, muddy, not muddy. Just a great horse to drive.
According to Lohmeyer, the only thing that can stop the rocket from blasting off is the rocket himself.
Well, if Pacific Rocket's any good, there won't be any trouble. They'll just catch me if you can. I mean, he'll give everybody a great trip. If he's good, he'll just go on and win. If he's not as up to his par, somebody might beat him.
And now the post parade for the Cadillac Breeders' Crown Open Pace. Number 1 is Historic.
Bruce Historic, over $1.2 million in earnings. You know, he's had moments of brilliance in his career, but not too many of those on a half-mile track. Has the rail, but whether he can get around the turns to get good position is indeed a question.
The driver is Dave Wall. Third Wednesday at Delaware in the Breeders' Crown Open Trot with good times. Number 2 is Pacific Rocket.
Well, he has the most to gain by winning this race. Second fiddle to last year's Horse of the Year and stablemate Cam's Card Shark. A win in this year's crown could help him take Horse of the Year honors in '95. He's won in 150 more times than any other horse and gets around a half-mile oval impeccably.
The driver, Jack Moiseyev, has won Breeders' Crown victory. It came in 1993 in his hometown of Freehold, New Jersey, with the 2-year-old Colt Pacer Expensive Scooter. Number 3 is Broadway Jake.
He indeed is the hottest horse around right now. 6 in a row, including wire-to-wire score on the senior jug just 5 days ago. He's shown great early speed in recent weeks, but doubtful he'll be able to outpace Pacific Rocket into the first turn.
The pilot is Richard Wocio. Freehold-based, has never won a Breeders' Crown, but he is a half-mile strategist. Number 4 is Village Jiffy.
Well, he has gone some of his best miles on the half-miler, but comes off a puzzling fourth-place finish in Sunday's senior jug. He sat the pocket of Broadway Jade in that one, but failed to fire.
The pilot, Paul McDonnell, an incredible 4 of 13 in the Breeders' Crown. He won his first with the long shot Bays Fella, his last with the same horse, Village Jiffy, last year. Number 5, that'll be me.
Seems to be a different horse since moving into the Robert Young stable. Comes into the Crown off 2 straight wins, including a monster 151 and 4 mile at Mohawk, but has raced only once in September. Now, if he can show that speed on a half-mile track, he'll be a force to be reckoned with.
The last time a Breeders' Crown race was held at Northfield Park, a 35-to-1 shot named Kingsbridge with Roger Mayotte in the bike pulled off the upset. Could lightning strike again? And number 6 completing the field, Lusty Leader.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, Bruce, he captured the Battle of Lake Erie here at Northfield earlier this season, upsetting race favorite Pacific Rocket. This time he's got John Campbell, which means an awful lot, as we all know.
Campbell has turned the Breeders' Crown into his own personal playground. He started more races, won more money, and captured more crowns than any other driver. Tonight, he goes for win number 28 in the prestigious series. That's the field for the Open Pace in the 1995 Cadillac Breeders' Crown here at Northfield Park. And right now, Gary's got a special guest.
Joining me now is Bob Glazer, who's Peter Pan Stable's well represented tonight in the Cadillac Breeders' Crown. Panhattan in the Open Mare Pace, and of course Broadway Jade, as I said, the hottest horse around in the Open Pace. Now, first of all, let's talk about Panhattan. You must be pleased with her third-place finish in the Open Mare Pace. She came on very strongly to just catch Shady Daisy at the wire.
Well, I'm pretty happy, Gary. It looked like I was going to be racing for third with the trip I had, and that's where we wound up.
Now, of course, you have been harness racing for quite a long time. You're hooked on this sport. You got your start right here at Northfield Park. Tell us how you got involved.
Well, I was originally just a fan and a handicapper like most of the people here. Came out, got hooked, and 5 or 6 years ago, picked up my first couple horses.
Now, you are definitely a hands-on owner. You get involved in every phase of your racing operation, and you like to see what's going on with your operation. Tell us your philosophy about how you run your business.
Well, I've got the most to win or lose as far as that goes. The driver and the trainer, they pick up 5% on the purse earnings, and I'm picking up 90%. And I guess I feel that I have to spend as much time as possible, as much as any other investment. It's not a hobby anymore for me.
Tell us about the change of racing style on Broadway Jade. You know, he wasn't leaving from the gate, wasn't winning, got some good checks, but was not winning. You sent him right out on the front end, and he has been just hot as heck. He's 6 in a row. Tell us about that.
Well, he'd really had a little bit of a class reprieve, Gary. Been chasing the best horses, the Pacific Rockets, the Riads earlier in the year, and didn't just have the best racing luck. So put him in some open overnight races at Freehold and Yonkers. I think it basically just braved him up a little bit.
Now, what do you think about his chances of outpacing Pacific Rocket into that first turn? Pacific Rocket just to Broadway Jade's inside, and as we all know, Pacific Rocket is very, very strong to that first quarter.
Yes, he is, but it looks like I have to go forward. I've got Village Jiffy on the outside of me, and he's got very quick gate speed. He left very well from the gate in the senior jug. In fact, I thought he had me looped, and I'm going to have to go forward.
All right, Bob, congratulations on Manhattan's third-place finish in the Open Mare Pace, and good luck to you in the upcoming Open Pace in Broadway Jade. And, Bruce, there we see Broadway Jade in the picture right now. What is he looking like on the odds board?
Well, he's getting a little bit of support, Gary. He's at 8-1. The overwhelming choice right now, the public, is Pacific Rocket, who is 3-5. Pacific Rocket trying to win Horse of the Year honors. If he wins tonight in the Breeders' Crown, he'll have a good chance. Well, the horses are on the track getting set for this last race of the night, the Open Pace. One of the horses to watch here is Lusty Leader, number 6. And John Campbell talks about Lusty Leader, who beat Pacific Rocket here in the Battle of Lake Erie.
You know, Bruce, that was his biggest check of the year.
Once again, a good look at Lusty Leader, second to Pacific Rocket at Freehold in the U.S. Pacing Championship, and a victor here in the Battle of Lake Erie. Here's John Campbell's comments on Lusty Leader.
Well, we're hoping that Lusty Leader remembers the track and gets around there as good. That's a case where Pacific Rocket wasn't at his best, but Lusty Leader's one of those horses that races well every time. Even if he doesn't win, he races well. So if somebody makes a mistake or they get fighting on the front, he's a horse that could be heard from.
And anytime you have John Campbell in the bike, you know that you have a shot, and right now being held at 8-1.
And, of course, John Campbell picking up a big win, Nick's Fantasy, and the jog at Delaware, Ohio, just yesterday. One
of the great trainers in the sport, no doubt, is Bill Wellwood. He's got Village Jiffy in here tonight. Village Jiffy is getting some respect. Paul McDonnell, an outstanding driver. And Bill Wellwood talks about how this horse has been so good this year.
My horse has been phenomenal this year. He's never win a lot of races, but he's always been, not always, but the majority of the times he's 1, 2, 3. He's on the board. He's been ultra consistent, and he win in 150 in Meadowlands. He win the Driscoll. The races that he win were of some note, and we're looking forward to him hopefully peaking at the Breeders' Crown again.
Village Jiffy, a two-time Breeders' Crown winner, tries to become the first pacer ever to win 3 Breeders' Crown events. Here's a look at the records. The Northfield Park record, the stakes record, and the world record. Village Jiffy has the stakes record, the track record, Arrive at 5, 151-4. The world record was set at Yonkers Raceway in 1993, 150-4 by Silver Almahurst. And right now, a look at the odds as the field gets ready to go postward. And once again, it is Pacific Rocket getting the support, 1-2, the public's choice. Village Jiffy, 9-2. Broadway Jade might be an overlay at 6-1.
I think he probably is an overlay at 6-1, but Pacific Rocket is the horse to beat. And I think you may see a battle between those two. Again, Broadway Jade has been racing best when he's on the front end, but Pacific Rocket is indeed a front-end horse and has a lot of speed into that first turn. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen here, Bruce.
4 winners of this race have won Horse of the Year honors. Staying Together, Arch Place, Matt Scooter, and Forrest Skipper. Tonight, a chance for Pacific Rocket to join that group. And they are ready to go. This is the last race of the evening, the Cadillac Breeders' Crown at Northfield Park. The Open Pace, a purse of $300,000. Here's track announcer Greg Young.
And the gates away, they're off in pacing. It's Village Jiffy putting a neck on top. There goes Pacific Rocket up on the inside right there in between horses. Broadway Jade. And around the turn they go, and Pacific Rocket and Jackie Moe. They're out there a length and a quarter. Into the back lane, Broadway Jade is second, a length and a half. That'll be me third. On the outside, Village Jiffy is fourth. Historic is fifth. Getting away last is Lusty Leader. They travel down for the quarter-mile mark of the race. Cutting nearly pace. Pacific Rocket out there a length and a half. Takes them past that quarter pole. Clocking in 27 3/5. Racing on the far turn. Runaway Jade is there second for Richard Wocio by a length and a half. That'll be me and Roger Mayotte third. That along the rail, Historic fourth. Ranging up on the outside, Village Jiffy. And the trailer is still Lusty Leader. In the lane they come, heading out of the halfway point of the race. And as they pass the stands, Pacific Rocket out there a length and a half. Broadway Jade second. Here comes Village Jiffy on the outside, now third. That'll be me fourth. And pulling out and coming on, it's Campbell with Lusty leader, and back to the trailing spot is Historic to have 57. In around the clubhouse turn, they go in their payoff half mile. As they circle into the back lane, Jack Moiseyev and Pacific Rocket still lead the way a length and a quarter. Broadway Jade second by 2. That'll be me third. Historic fourth. Village Jiffy is fading towards the rear, and on the rail, Lusty leader. They're over to the 3/4 mile mark and taking them over there. Pacific Rocket a length, 1:24 and 4/5 on the turn, coming home in the Cadillac Breeders' Crown Open pace, and it's Pacific Rocket out there a length. Here comes That'll Be Me on the outside, in along the rail. Broadway Jade off the wood is Historic. They're at the top of Heartbreak, letting it drive for the wire. Pacific Rocket, Jackie Moe fighting to hold that lead, roaring on the outside, looking for the upset. That'll be me. Pacific Rocket flying on the outside. That'll be me. Historic, that'll be me. 1:52 and 4/5.
A huge upset in the Cadillac Breeders' Crown, and indeed, lightning strikes twice. Roger Mayotte getting the job done with That'll Be Me. The last time he came to the Breeders' Crown here at Northfield Park, he had a horse named Kingsbridge. He upset Western Hanover to the tune of $72.40, and tonight, another huge upset as Roger Mayotte gets number 5, That'll Be Me, to the winner's circle.
As you said, Bruce, no stranger to victory in the Breeders' Crown here at Northfield. Roger Mayotte coming on with That'll Be Me on the outside, and Pacific Rocket, who set all the pace and some pretty swift fractions on this chilly night, just cannot hang on here. That'll Be Me gets up in the final strides. Pacific Rocket hangs on for a second, but I'll tell you what an upset in the Cadillac Breeders' Crown this evening.
He was a monster last year in Alberta, 27 of 28 on the board as a sophomore. This year, he took the much tougher Ontario Jockey Club circuit, and here he is. That'll Be Me, and yes, indeed, he gets up and will be back. Welcome back to the Cadillac Breeders' Crown in Northfield Park in Northfield, Ohio, and it is official. We have a big upset. Pacific Rocket gets beat by That'll Be Me, who returns 21.40, 5.60, and 3.60. Pacific Rocket 2.60 and 2.20. Historic was third, $3.40. Time of the mile 1:52 and 2, and the exacta return $64.80. This horse, bred by K.D. Owen, born in 1903, the great-grandson of Robert Owen, a Welsh social reformer of the 1800s, who's considered the late father of English socialism. The owner-trainer is Robert Young of Guelph, Ontario. The winning driver, Roger Mayotte. Let's go to Gary Seibel in the winner's circle.
Roger, congratulations. You know, we did this before in 1992. At that time, you were driving Kingsbridge to a victory and an upset victory in the 3-year-old Colt Pace. You did it once again tonight with That'll Be Me. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this is a very nice horse. Ohio's been good to me with the Breeders' Crowns. I hope I can come back again. This horse raced very well. He got a good trip out of it, and he's never been beat on a half-mile track, they tell me. I've won twice at home on halves, and this half-mile track suited him fine.
Now, you indeed have driven this horse before, but this is his first start in the United States. Do you think he had a shot tonight, or was it just a matter of luck and a good drive?
Well, personally, I thought he had a chance. Just the way he raced last week at the Mohawk, he took a new lifetime mark. And the week before, he set a track record at Flamborough Downs for aged horses. And like I said, half mile is his asset.
All right, now I think the big move for you was going into the first turn. You managed to squeeze in and made a big move there. Was that a winning move for you?
I think it was, because if I didn't get in there, I was going to be out the whole mile, like unfortunately Paul was out the whole mile.
We're going to take a look at the race on the backstretch now. Pacific Rocket, of course, no surprise here on the front end where he usually is. You're now rolling up on the outside. You've got some pace here, and you're closing in strongly. At this point in the mile, do you think you're going to get to the leader?
My horse is pacing real strong, and I was making ground on the turn, so I knew when I'd hit the straightaway, if I can get up beside Rocket, I might have a chance to catch him.
And what about Broadway Jade breathing down your neck and now trying to close from the inside?
I really didn't notice him on the inside. I was just trying to get by the Rocket.
Well, congratulations. You get up. You win it by about a neck or a half a length there, and That'll Be Me does it again. Another upset for you, Roger, and congratulations on your Cadillac Breeders' Crown win.
Thank you very much.
Right now, we'll go back to Bruce Beck.
That'll Be Me, the 4-year-old bay horse by On the Road Again out of the Samson Direct mare Mabel Scooter, handled last year by Keith Clark in Alberta and recently by Robert Young. That'll Be Me shocks Pacific Rocket in the Cadillac Breeders' Crown Open Pace. That'll Be Me, driven to victory by Roger Mayotte. For the presentation right now, let's go to Gary Seibel.
All right, Bruce, owner-trainer Robert Young is waiting to do some somersaults and handstands, but until he does, Dennis O'Shaughnessy, Central Zone Manager of Cadillac Motor Car Division, will make the presentation of the Cadillac Breeders' Crown Trophy to Robert Young.
Robert, congratulations. First time in the U.S. and you win it. That's a great job. On the behalf of Cadillac and all the Cadillac dealers nationwide, I'd like to present you with this Breeders' Crown Trophy.
Thank you very much, Dennis, and on behalf of myself and That'll Be Me, it's a great honor to win this, and I'd like to thank Northfield Park and Cadillac for sponsoring this event, and we're going to go back and enjoy ourselves now. Thank you.
Okay, Dennis, thank you very much for the presentation, and we're going to have a couple of questions now for owner-trainer Robert Young. I know you're standing here. I can feel you kind of vibrating a little bit. You have to be really happy right now.
I'm very excited. It's quite a thrill to win any big race, but Breeders' Crown race is even more exciting, and we're just happy that the horse was able to do it. We're in a very tough field of horses, and I'm ecstatic.
What made you decide to bring the horse to the Cadillac Breeders' Crown?
The horse has been real good ever since the humidity left this summer, and he went on 2 half-mile tracks on Canada. And his last start, he was just awesome at Mohawk Raceway. It was a cold night, and it was just great. And so he went in 51-4, and the guy that drove him, he drove him a great race. And he said, this horse is just fresh right now. And I said, well, I hope so. I said, because we're going to spend some money and find out. So.
And was that the deciding factor, that monster mile at Mohawk, that made the decision for you?
Yeah, because it was a big mile for him, and he's right on it, you know, and we're really happy with him. And never been beat. He's never been beat on a half-mile track yet, this horse.
How do you feel right now?
Very good, very good. Ecstatic.
What's next for That'll Be Me?
He goes to Edmonton next week for the Stuart Fraser, and then I think he comes back and goes to the Levy and Yonkers.
All right, we're going to let you join the rest of the Winner's Circle ceremony right now. Congratulations, owner-trainer Robert Young, his victory with That'll Be Me in the Cadillac Breeders' Crown Open Pace. Right now, we're going to send it back to Bruce Beck.
And Gary, remember, Matt Scooter and On the Road Again both came out of Western Canada the way That'll Be Me did. That'll Be Me, followed by Pacific Rocket, Historic, Broadway J, Lusty Leader, and Village Jiffy. Well, when they ask Robert Young who won the Cadillac Breeders' Crown, he can turn to the press now and say, That'll Be Me. Welcome back to Northfield Park. A shocker this evening. That'll Be Me winning the Open Pace. His last race at Mohawk was huge. He won by 7 over Historic and Lusty Leader, and it signaled that he was peaking and maturing, and tonight it certainly came through. Well, look at a wonderful Winner's Circle presentation right now. We go back to Gary Seibel.
All right, we're going to take a look now at the replay here. And as we said, Pacific Rocket, he likes his action on the front end. That's right where he is now for Jack Moisea. Broadway Jade is well placed. He's right there in the pocket. Village Jiffy, the 4-horse, is now charging up on the outside. He has no choice here. He has to make a move at some point, and he's got to pressure Pacific Rocket. But Pacific Rocket is very, very game. And Village Jiffy then all of a sudden backs off from the outside. Now, I'll tell you what, he did pretty much the same in the Little Brown, in the Jug preview, or actually the Senior Jug. This past Sunday was not sharp, and apparently was not sharp again this evening. Nothing from Village Jiffy, back right out of it here. Pacific Rocket on the front end, and that would change when they got to the wires. That'll Be Me now drives up the eventual winner on the outside for Roger Mayotte. Pacific Rocket was going fairly well at this point, and I personally thought that he was going to hang on here, but That'll Be Me had a little bit more pace at the end of this mile, and Broadway Jade on the inside tried to close on the inside lane, and he couldn't get there either. He was closing with pace, but That'll Be Me was the stronger horse of those three as he closed on the outside for Roger Mayotte. Another upset in the Cadillac Breeders' Crown. Right now, we'll go back to Bruce.
So shades of 1990 and Bay's Fella as we get an upset tonight, and That'll Be Me now. Here's a look at the lifetime statistics. Earnings now of over $575,000. It pales in comparison to Pacific Rocket and Village Jiffy, but That'll Be Me has a Cadillac Breeders' Crown. A disappointing night for the richest active pacer, Pacific Rocket, but certainly not a disappointing night for the outstanding mare, Elimony, who won her race in the Open Mare Pace, defeating Camaris and Panhattan. And CRK Susie, of course, now has to be considered a candidate for Horse of the Year honors along with Pacific Rocket.